Greetings and welcome to the Halloween edition of the Sliders Review. And I'm here today to talk to you about Children of the Corn, the 1984 movie. So, this is my first time ever watching any of the Children of the Corn movie. The closest I've ever came to that was that episode of South Park. And so I've always been kind of curious, so I'm like, okay, is that what Children of the Corn is about? And I've heard other people, other movies make references talking about, oh, those Children of the Corn, they freaky and stuff like that. I'm all like, I don't know what the world they're talking about. And so, every Halloween that passes, I just never bothered to, look for that movie. I kind of just forgot about it, and I haven't thought about it since, that South Park episode. And so when I was looking for Child's Play 2 on the TV, Children of the Corn came up. I'm like, oh, okay, it's free on Roku TV app and Tubi and some other stuff. So I'm like, okay, maybe I'll check it out. But I didn't know which one to watch because there are at least 11, 12, 13 or so movies in the franchise and stuff. And I see that there's a remake of it. And so, I was able to find the original one, and it was actually a pretty good movie. It was freaky, it was odd, it was creepy, it was eerie, you know what I'm saying? And, because it's a suspense thriller, slasher, and horror movie and stuff. And I think it was well paced, it was well acted. Linda Hamilton did an amazing job in it. What's his name? Peter Horton. He did a pretty good job too. Although sometimes it looked like he was just kind of like, "What movie am I in?" He's all like, "Oh, you want me to do this? All right, fine." And the kids were really good too. And my God, they are just so creepy. And so yeah, this movie has so many interpretations and stuff, so many sequels and it's like prequels and remakes and all kind of stuff. And it's kind of like, it's one thing that's so weird is that you never hear too many people talk about this and stuff. And I wonder why that is, because the remakes are pretty recent, but you never hear about it. You hear about the Halloween stuff and Scream and stuff like that, but you never hear about Children of the Corn. And you know what's interesting? I'm surprised they haven't turned this into a TV series yet. Because they could easily do that and go into more depth and backstory and stuff like that. And so with this, I think, see, here's the interesting thing. It's not much horror. There's a supernatural horror element to it, which kind of took me out of it. I was just kind of weirded out. I'm just like, why are you adding that now in the movie and stuff? Then, because this is based off of Stephen King, the ending is so weird. I started getting confused towards the end. I'm just like, wait, hold up. It ends just like that? And I'm just like, man, you gotta give me more than that. And so now I know, what this one girl said. I remember when I was in college, my first year, and we was watching Don't Say a Word. And she's all like, ugh, I hate when movies do this. When the adult takes in the child and stuff like that. I didn't know what she meant by them, but now I do. And stuff. And it's crazy. When you think about this movie and what all happened, logically, you know, this is pretty ridiculous. There's no way kids gonna be able to survive on their own. But when you think about this and kids creating their own society and everything, getting rid of the adults, it really makes you wonder what if that could really happen. Because there's been other knockoff interpretations of this, this Netflix series that lasted for 2 seasons called Between. It's a terrible show. Don't watch it. Just don't watch it. But if you are gonna watch it, at least watch season 1. It's alright. Once they get into season 2, it kind of gets in that stupid sci-fi goopity gop, you know what I'm saying? And so No, not yeah, sci-fi like technology, like craziness, and conspiracy theory of the government crap. I'm just like really, man, like really. And so but it deals with all the adults dying on their own because there's some type of. Okay, here's the thing. Everybody lives in this town. All the adults all of a sudden just starts dying, like just automatically. And people die once they turn 18. Nobody can explain it and stuff. So of course the kids and the teenagers they take over. And so this was just like it's like there are horror movies, there are slasher movies, and there are like times when you watch things directly on DVD and stuff, and they're not very good. And every once in a while comes something that is pretty genuine and pretty like new and fresh, and that's what I like about it. Like it's different, and but it's no longer different no more because they just keep making sequel after sequel and stuff. And so with this movie, basically it starts off with like people at a diner of all ages. And then you get the kids giving each other the nod. And something weird is gonna happen just by the creepy way they look. And this one boy dresses like a preacher. Then next thing you know, all the kids start like killing the adults and everything. It is insane. And while this is going on, there's a little girl in the bed. She's sick and she's drawing, but she's not looking at the paper. And somehow she saw what was going to happen of all the kids, killing the adults. Now, with this movie, there are some things that aren't explained that need to be explained, like really need to be explained. It'd be nice to have a little backstory to it, just to make it a little bit more logical in the universe of their horror. And so it will also explain better why did the kids do what they did? Why did Isaac want to do all this? Was it because he was hearing a voice in his head? If so, what really? So in a way, some time passes, maybe a year or so, and we get introduced to a couple, Bert and like Vicky, and they're heading into like town because they're on the highway because Bert has to get to the interview of a lifetime and everything for a new job. Reminds me of that South Park thing. And so they're driving and they're driving and they're getting a little lost and stuff. And then they pull up. Well, actually, they're still driving. By this time, there's a boy who's hanging out with Job and what was that girl name? Sarah, I think. And so he wants to escape this place, and he has a suitcase, and he's running through like the maze of corn, and there's somebody after him. And so next thing you know, like Bert and Vicky, they're driving, and then Bert takes his eyes off the road and he hits the boy. But the boy already had blood on him. So of course they're like distraught and everything. And for some reason, Vicky just falls asleep in the car. I hate when they write like women characters like that. And because it's so insulting. Like, oh, a traumatic thing happens. So what does she do? She falls asleep. She can't take it. And so like she has her nightmare. He wraps the body up and he puts the body in the trunk. And so he takes the suitcase and they're driving. Boys, cell phones be nice around this time, but this was the 80s. And so they get to like a gas station. And the dude doesn't want to help them, nothing like that. And he's trying to explain, he hit somebody, but he can't tell the dude because the dude won't even let him talk. So in a way, they leave. And all of a sudden, one of those creepy little hick kids and everything kills the old man and kills his dog. Now, for some reason, they let him live. And we find out because they need his gas and resources and stuff. But Malachi, the dude with ginger hair, tells them they have all they need and they don't need him. So the mechanic dude, he tells them, keep on this road and everything. And you'll get to this one town and don't go to this other town because the other town, they don't like strangers and stuff. Well, they get completely lost. And one thing I noticed when I started hearing the music when they were driving through like the maze of cornfield was the music from the Ninja Turtles movie. I'm just like, I was getting Ninja Turtle vibes, and then I couldn't stop thinking about Ninja Turtles. And so, like, they go into a town they're not supposed to. They're looking around, and it's a dead town. Everywhere they go, there are like corn, like husk and stuff like that. Shavings like everywhere. It's freaky. It's like a weird ghost town, and they're being stalked. They go into a house and they find Sarah. And so when Bert's like, looking for like a phone and stuff like that, because the phones don't work there. And logically, you'll think people been dead for about a year or two. Wouldn't their loved ones come coming into town looking for them? But I guess when they do, they end up dead too. And so like Vicky gets freaked out because Sarah draws a picture of her, and it's her being hung. Now it's weird. Now Isaac is the little preacher pastor dude. In his new world order, he's like so religious. He thinks he hears the voice of some deity and everything. And it basically is him making the rules. And Malachi is like his enforcer. And when Sarah broke the rules, Malachi wanted to punish them because they're not supposed to listen to music. I hate when things like this happen, when people take over towns and they have their new like rules, and if you break them, all this other crap. But Isaac tells him, Sarah has the gift of sight. Once again, how is she able to see these people dying and stuff? It's never explained. And so you can tell something's going to happen with Isaac and Malachi. They just really getting on each other's nerves and stuff, especially because they're kids and kids can't get along. And so they kidnap Sarah. They take her out to the field. They hang her like Jesus. They even have like corn on the cob, like crosses and stuff. And they worship something called the Blue Man. It's a dead man wearing like a blue uniform. And so like you see his skull, which freaks her out because she knows what's about to happen to her. Well, Bert's in town. He goes to like a church. He sees some kids getting blood lit and everything. And he stops it, smacks a couple of them around, which is kind of funny. And he stops the one girl. The one girl, the freaky, crazy girl, she was the voice of Decca from Power Rangers in Space, the AI system. I never knew that. And so basically, Malachi's had enough. He's taken over. He ties Isaac up and everything. And so he takes Vicky to find Bert. Because he figured, he'll be looking for his like woman and stuff like that. And he's all like, outsider, we have your woman. And crap. And these kids are dangerous. When they gang up on you, it's insane. And they use bladed weapons. Which makes me wonder, this is an old hick town. Where are the guns? Like, anybody who's ever lived in the South or the country knows people have guns, especially hick people and redneck people. So where are all the guns at and stuff? Why do they only have bladed weapons? And so, like, basically, this weird tornado. This is when things get weird. Like a weird tornado starts to happen. And something, okay, it's just a tornado, but the kids are freaking out. But then I noticed when they were going in the corn maze, Bert, to find like Vicky and stuff, the maze was opening a path for him. So I'm like, wait, hold up. So this isn't just a slasher. This is like some paranormal, like hoopa joop type stuff and everything. And so next thing you know, some really bad CGI takes over Isaac's body, and it looks like he like explodes or something. But no, he turns into some type of blue devil demon. Like what the world? So like, what is this all about? But it's never explained. And so like, I forget what happened to freaking Malachi, man. And so maybe he dies or something. And so they run back to like this farmhouse and everything, and the tornado type thing is coming, and they're freaking out. And then like Job just happened. Job, what kind of name is Job? But he just happens to have like Bible passage in like his pocket because apparently Isaac was reading from it and something's supposed to stop it. He reads it, doesn't know what it means, but somehow they figure out it means light the field on fire. So it was like, well, I'm just like now, I'm like, what the world's going on now? Like, what? So they like, fix the little hose and everything. They go out to the field, they set it ablaze, and it blows up. And it's just kind of like, all right, the evil is now done. Well, kids, what are we gonna do with you two? I know, we'll like adopt you. I'm just like, huh? Like, what about the other kids? They're still alive. And he still has that dead body in the trunk. But he doesn't have that car no more because well, he couldn't because they put like a bunch of corn unless he cleared it out. And so then all of a sudden, the most random thing happens. The crazy girl who voiced Decca, she's in the back seat of the car with a hook trying to hook him. And I think he pretty much like manhandles her and like he slams the car door, which she runs into and her head bumps into it and she's out cold and they're like, let's just walk like 19 miles to the next house. I'm just kind of like, what the world kind of ending is that? So I do think this is a really good, freaky, eerie, creepy movie. It's good for the Halloween time, but there are some things that need to be explained. Like, why did the kids kill all the adults? Like, why is Isaac think he's like some type of messenger or whatever deity god that, he's listening to? Like, how does Sarah has the sight of like premonition and everything? Why would setting the cornfield on fire get rid of it? What is the world up with the blue devil and everything? It's just like those things need to be explained. How is it people haven't come into town with like military and cops and like, all right, kids, like, there's enough playing around, like, time for the adults to take over and stuff like that. It's just like, it's weird. Like, those things really need to be explained. That wasn't that spooky. All right, well, I shall talk to y'all later. Bye.